all these buttons to press. Okay, look at the Torah Or Parshat Noach, page test. Okay, the Alter Rebbe is explaining that the concept of the Mabul not only purified the world, but therefore it's called Mei Noach from the expression of Naicha, and the Maamarim, the great waters of Parnasa warriors and Gashmistic warriors actually elevate the Jew to a higher level than he would be otherwise, and therefore it's called, even that's called Mei Noach. And he said that's how a person reaches to Bli Gvul, to Ma'idcha. He says, how does this happen? So he said, because the Gashmistic things come from the world of Tehu. Tehu is higher than Tikkun. So when all these sparks come down and the Jew refines them and elevates them, so then he reaches a very lofty level. Okay? So start the test, on page test, first column, bottom, new paragraph. This is what Chazal tell us. One turning or one doing of tshuva ma'asim teva in this world is better than the whole world to come. Why? Because only dafka through being down here can you elevate yourself to a place infinitely greater than Gan Eden. Therefore, the neshama is in Gan Eden before it comes down. Now it comes down to elevate itself to a higher level. Therefore, it's called the Mayim Rabim. It's called Mei Noach. How could it be resting if it's Mayim Rabim? It becomes in the Tevas Noach. It becomes in the ark of Noach, the Teva of Noach, that the Baal Shem Tov said means Tevas HaTfilah. The word Teva, as we learned, means an ark. It also means words. So the Baal Shem Tov said, Be'el HaTeva, if somebody wants to protect himself from the flood waters of the world, from the flood, so what the Baal Shem Tov said, what do you need to do? The pasuk says, Be'el HaTeva. Come into the words of Torah and Tefillah, that protects you from the flood waters. And that's what it says, that the water became very powerful and it elevated. The water was 15 amas above the top place of the world. That represents the power of the Nefesh Habamis. Al Bechinas Nefesh Shulikis, over the Nefesh Shulikis, Be'isik HaParnasa, by making a living. Unyonim Gashmim, but nevertheless, it becomes a great level that it becomes what's called Mei Noach, the waters of peace and tranquility. And that's what the pasuk says. The Teva went on top of the water, meaning Shaydei Hamayim through the Mayim, meaning through the all worries of Parnasa and all the headaches and so on. Davka Misalas Tevas HaTfilah does the words of Teva and Tfilah, the Teva. In other words, when you say the Teva went above the water, I mean the Teva reached a higher level than the water. The water represents the Mayim Rabim, all the worries of Parnasa. But Davka through this, though you come to the Teva, the words of Torah and Tefillah, which are above the water, meaning it's on top of it. The Alter Rebbe is speaking out to business people. This is a mistake of business people. Shadaitam, that in their opinion, they're not able to daven so much like the Yesha Yalam, like the Yeshiva Bachrim. They think, oh, we got worries of Parnas, we got to run out to work, carpool, whatever it may be. He says, Adrab, Nepuch, it's the opposite. Shem Yechelim, L'Spal Yosef, they could daven even more. Because they could reach a higher level than the yeshiva boys, because they're sitting and learning. They don't have all these problems. Dafka, through the worries of Parnas and all that, do you reach a higher level? Ki yes, and Amitecha Cheshach Dafka. So therefore, he says, on the contrary, in the Mayim Rabim is where the Teva elevates you. The Teva represents words of Torah and Tefillah, davening, and learning. So he says, where do you have that Dafka in the Mabul? Dafka in the Mayim Rabim. The Yeshiva Bachim don't have the Mabul. They think they do, but they don't. What?
The Mayim also is Torah too.
Yeah, but depends. The water, the Alter Rebbe explained before, the purpose of the Mabul was not to destroy the people because Hashem had many ways of destroying them. The Mabul, the 40 days, was the 40 Sova mikveh. Hashem should put the world into a big mikveh of the Mabul, was to purify the world. It wasn't only to kill people. Hashem has a lot of ways of killing the people. They made the earth open up and finished. Which is the level of Shabbos. Noach means resting. And like you called it before, Targum says on the word Shabbos, he says the level of Naicha, resting. And the 6 days of creation, of work, is a revelation of the 7 spheres coming down. Like it says, Yemirish, it says, Yir, Yirakia, Tachyor Desha, Shenikroy Meyamaise. It's called days of working. Like the Torah says, Sheishis Yamim, Tasim Lachtecha. It's the 6 days of work. By the way, it, as Chassidus explains in the Medrash, it doesn't mean 6 days you're allowed to work. Sheishis Yamim Tasim normally means 6 days you're allowed to work. Sheishis Yamim Tasim means you have to work. You have to create, You have to create, you have to accomplish. And Shabbos is Shvis Mimlacha, resting from the work, Benaicha Derucha, and the resting of the spirit, which is Aliyas Eilim, it's Lamaila. Like the elevation of the worlds above, like a person who rests from his, according to Chassidus, it's like this. 6 days of creation, Hashem is creating. That means Hashem is lowering himself into the level of creator. Hashem himself is above creator. But 6 days a week, Hashem is in the level of creator. Shabbos, Hashem stops creating. That means Hashem is a level higher than creator. A Jew always has to connect to Hashem. Now, how do you connect to Hashem? By copying. 6 days a week, Hashem is in the level of creator. Therefore, it says 6 days you have to work. What does work mean? Work doesn't mean heavy schlepping. Like we learned in Hoch Shabbos, the concept of work is creativity. Hashem didn't work hard. That on Shabbos he needed to rest, right? The Gemara says Hashem didn't create the world with effort or bother. Hashem created 6 weeks. He didn't work 6 weeks. This work is an incorrect definition. Hashem created 6 days and stopped creating on Shabbos, right? That means 6 days Hashem lowered himself into the level of Malchus, into the level of world, into creation. Shabbos Hashem elevated himself back. So therefore, 6 days a week, how does a person connect to Hashem? You have to connect to Hashem as Hashem is a creator. Hashem is creator for 6 days. So therefore, Sheishis Yamim Tasa, the Torah says 6 days you need to create. By the malacha that we do, by the things that we do. Shabbos, Hashem stopped creating. Therefore, Hashem, a person stops working, stops creating. Then he connects himself to the level of Hashem, which is higher than world. But only through the 6 days of work, then do you have that level.
That also means te'ase.
No.
A lot of times that's the...
Te'ase malacha means when the Gemara said when Shabbos comes, kom lach t'chasi, has to... But Tasa means no. Tasa is active.
So when it's already Shabbos, you have to think it's Tasa.
Yeah, but during the week it's Shei Tasa. The same thing, all the problems and worries and the effort of Inyanim Gashma, which are called Mayim Rabim. Because Al Rebbe explained before in other places, a greater length. What's the Shabbos during the week? What's the level of Shabbos during the week? Is the level of davening. Davening during the week is the Shabbos of the week. So he says, when you elevate the work through davening, like you said, there's no reason why the Bali Asok and the business people can't daven. He says, when you elevate it, then that level is called Naicha Derucha, which is the level of Shabbos. So he says, because the davening of the 6 days of the work is the level of Shabbos, like you said before. The Shabbos of each day is the davening of the day.
Why doesn't it talk about...
One second. I'll call Shabbos Tato. But that's only the lower level of Shabbos. Because Al Rebbe said before, there's Noach, a lower level of Noach, a higher level of Noach. Noach is Shabbos. The lower level of Shabbos, the higher level of Shabbos. So this is the lower level of Shabbos. But but there's a higher level of Shabbos, which is the Shabbos of La'asid Lavi. Now, there's like partial Shabbos. But Yom Shekula Shabbos to Menuchal Chayelam, that's the higher level of Shabbos. And that's the level. Hashem said, Hashem swore in this week's Parshat that he's never going to bring the flood again. So even though, what's wrong with the flood? The flood was purification. Why did Hashem swear not to bring the flood? The flood was tahara, mikveh. What's wrong with a mikveh? Good hot mikveh was, by the way. Tara, kolkach. But you don't need tara always. Hashem said this tara is a unique special occasions. But in the regular tara you don't need. So Hashem said, the same thing I'm swearing from getting angry at you. Or yelling at you. Even though we explained before. Through the Mayim Rabbim becomes the Yis and the earth. Because through the Chayshach he become greater, which the Ava B'chol Meidecha. Like you said before, the level of Bligvul, Im Kolzeh. Yashed B'chinas Ava Rabba B'mo Maila. There's a higher level of Ava that comes from above, which is the Maila Maila. Even the level of Ava, which comes through the Mayim Rabbim. In other words, like this. Abstinence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Because everybody knows the English expression. So during the weekend, Alter Rebbe explained, because you have Tirdus HaParnasa, you're far away from Hashem, that causes a longing to want Hashem. So therefore, this is the advantage of light over darkness, because it's coming not over darkness, from darkness. But there's a level of Shabbos, which is even higher than that level, that comes through the yearning and longing from the distance. And that's a higher level of Ava, and that's the level of Shabbos L'Asad Levi, which is called Yemini Techabgeni, and that's going to be L'Skala L'Asad Levi, and that level will be revealed when Mashiach comes. Okay.